What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Alex G alongside Malin. This is the A Couple of Things podcast where we are here to talk about a couple of things. No intros today, so we are going to get right into it. Good.
I'm just looking at myself.
So we're gonna start. There's been a lot of news. We actually have some topics for y'all today. So, first and foremost, just so we can get it out the way, because I don't feel like dealing with this beef much longer.
Beef updates.
Just an update on the Kendrick and Drake beef. For y'all that didn't see it last week, we did like an hour-long rant about the Kendrick and Drake beef breakdown. So if you want, you can still go check that out. That video was put out prior to Drake dropping the Heart Part 6. But now, this is our update. So there's a mysterious Twitter account that is now posting some of the physical evidence that was used in the Meet the Grams album artwork. So some of the receipts, some items that might have been discarded or left around or stolen. They were recording from what looked like a Brooklyn penthouse apartment condo view. For those of you that don't know, Kendrick actually lives in New York, at least part-time or whatever. He at least bought something. He bought property in New York. So we can assume he spent some time in that place when he's in New York. And so that was the view, and it had all of the same items that were in the Meet the Grams album artwork. Now, it's starting to get a little spooky out here, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is starting to seem like a plot from Batman or something, because it was very mysterious. I think the most important thing out of everything from that video was the fact that they were using like a Panasonic, like crazy military type laptop, which was weird. I used to be in technology sales, so I used to sell those things. So we used to only sell that to literally like police and the government and, the military. So that was the most interesting thing about that video to me, was just a little weird. I don't know why anybody would have that laptop sitting around, but yeah, so supposedly what this kind of more or less proves, Drake said that he was planting this mole and giving Kendrick all this fake evidence that he has a kid, and whatever evidence that Drake felt like Kendrick was using in his songs, like I don't know. This is where it gets weird. It's just like, what did Drake try to plant, right? I don't know.
I think he just saw that idea was running around online, because he liked the comment about somebody saying it was a fake mole. I think he liked that idea and ran with it.
Yeah.
So he just needed a defense.
Right.
But
it's not true. The only thing I could say, and let me explain more about it before we start trying to figure out whether it's true or not. All of the items, and there were also some additional items too, right? Like there were some items from Canada, like the CN Tower, like looks like little tourist information, news articles and stuff like that were in the video that person on Twitter posted. So it looked like there was a lot of evidence of just something that might have been discarded by Drake or stolen, because supposedly Drake's dad's luggage got stolen or something. I've been hearing a bunch of different theories about stuff, but I heard that was one of the things, that these items were not necessarily from Drake himself, but that they were his dad's.
Yeah.
But some of that stuff was in Drake's name, but it was really for his dad. So I've been hearing some theories about that.
That'd be interesting.
They posted some random.
Which that'd be kind of weird though.
It would, right?
Because why would you? Because it's Drake's name, so it's like if putting in his name is not very like secretive, you know. But then again, I feel like all the people that they get these like pharmaceutical drugs and stuff from are all within the Hollywood world. So it's not like anybody would be like necessarily snitching.
Right, and it's also a HIPAA violation.
Yeah,
too.
HIPAA violation.
When you don't, if they could, because they'll trace it directly back to that doctor
find out who,
and that pharmacist,
and
then they would be done. But maybe it wasn't for his dad, but it was stolen from his dad's luggage, is from what I understand. Like, some of the items.
Some of it, right? That's right. Yeah, I wonder what items were in his dad's luggage.
Yeah, they could have been the prescriptions.
That's what it seemed like they're saying. It's like some of it might have been from a luggage, or some of it might have been discarded.
Yeah,
like it just seemed like it was a collection of stuff throughout like over a year's time.
Right.
Could that camera footage that they're showing is January 2023. So.
Right. And for those of you that haven't seen it, there was, from this Twitter account, they're posting screen grabs, screenshots from a security camera footage from a hotel that Drake was at in 2023. So this is where it starts to get a little mysterious, because Drake said that he had this fake mole that was planting these ideas a week ago, it's been like in a week's time. They were planning it for a week, but we're seeing this evidence. It's from over a year ago. Yeah. Some of this stuff, at least when some of this stuff started being collected, but some things were closer in the time frame, closer to right now, basically over the last few months that are giving us evidence. And I don't know, it's getting a little Batman-ish. Kendrick might be the Riddler.
I just want to know who's behind this page.
Yeah, the page is like, what is it? Ebony
Prince or something.
Ebony Prince.
Like
I know
2K24.
everybody was clowning the name, and that's why low-key people were theorizing that it might be Drake behind the account.
Yeah,
and
maybe he's like trolling.
Yeah, maybe he's trolling, and maybe that at name is to be even more funny.
And then the profile picture is like a Pan-African flag, like it's the green and red American flag. So it's supposed to be like, oh, like we was kangs, like one of those like, oh, we black and Africa, like some of these people are who are extra, very extra, like African Prince. Like I feel like he's trying to like lean into that, like whoever's behind the page. If it is Drake, like maybe he's trying to like be sarcastic because like he said like he thinks Kendrick is this fake woke, fake activist, free the slaves. So that's very like I feel like that embodies that image because so many people online who fly that Pan-African flag and try to act like, oh, we're one and we in the motherland, like they're just very like I don't know, it's very performative, very like extra lying, like try to like be Lion King-esque. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like those people.
Yeah, they're overly within the diaspora. Yeah, we're all
and we go back home. Yeah, we're going home. Like
the only thing is, I feel like Drake has definitely not enough culture to even know what Pan-Africanism even is.
Yeah, he might not know.
Yeah, because he's from Canada, even.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's getting a little weird and spooky. But again, for context for everybody, the account posted and said that they have till Monday, I think, for Drake and academics to respond with a lawyer to take down all the accusations saying that those items were fake, and that academics and Drake were lying about the evidence being planted. So it gets a little even more spooky because we don't know who's behind this account. And again, now they're putting lawyers involved in it.
Yeah.
And if they don't, and there's some legal action, who knows what could possibly happen, right? Now you're talking about those diss tracks being taken down. Like it starts to get really deep.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now we're bringing in the finance part of it, which this whole beef has been horrible for people money-wise. Which we could break down in a little bit, but that's basically the update as of now. The account keeps tweeting. People keep speculating whether it's Kendrick or not. At first, I kind of thought it was a way for Kendrick to kind of dispel some of these rumors that Drake had the fake mole. Mm-hmm. But now as the account keeps tweeting, I'm like, this is definitely not Kendrick. Because it's starting to get a little unhinged. They're talking about Kevin Samuels. They're doing a whole lot of random tweets. And I'm like, okay, this is probably not Kendrick. It's confusing, yeah. Could be somebody that works for him. I don't know.
It could be the mole himself or herself.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Or Drake trolling. It could be a lot of different things. So we don't have any final information on this account yet.
Let me see if anything has happened since we've been on here.
We'll update. And while you're looking for that, in addition, since we last recorded, Drake's house has been targeted, I guess we could say, with different intruders coming onto the property, getting tackled by security and arrested. So there's a lot of fans that, Drake's information has been public in terms of his address forever.
Yeah.
Right. Like even though I hated you making me do this, but we drove by Drake's house before as well. Yeah. So it's on a very public street. It's not a gated community at all. Mm-hmm. Anybody can drive past it.
Yeah.
It's just any typical suburb. But when we went out there, that same type of security car was out there.
Mm-hmm. It was like, I'm pretty sure there's 2 cars.
Yeah.
That front. It was just like regular cars. So it's definitely something that was like security type.
Because it had the number on it, which might have been the same car that we.
You think? Let me go back and look at the video.
Yeah, go look at the videos because it was definitely a security company.
August, July.
That was July. And so people have been trying to infiltrate the embassy for some reason. But also within that, the biggest story that came out of this was that Drake's security guard got shot in front of his house.
Yeah.
Now, some evidence, or at least an investigation, is starting to like.
Oh shit! It was that truck.
Yeah, it is a security truck.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same exact
that
car.
Jungle Lion security.
Yeah. So one of the cars, at least.
That's so crazy.
I don't know if there's multiple cars, but the car that was involved in the shooting, we drove past and it was outside there. But anyway,
that's so random.
Drake is now supposedly being investigated because the car that's associated with the shooting is a company that's owned really by Drake. It's a company that doesn't exist, but the car is registered to Drake.
And Chubbs, right?
And Chubbs is the head of the security for Drake, and it's just like a little bit weird. Guns are not illegal
Are they trying
where
to
they are.
insinuate though that this company was created like recently?
That's where it gets
Because
confusing.
then obviously you could
But I don't
dispel
think
that
so,
because we have
'cause
the video evidence.
I don't think it was created recently, but it's more so like this company is not an actual company
Okay, yeah.
that exists where they can call and get information
Okay.
about what
Like,
happened.
yeah, and why the person was let in through the gate
Right.
to shoot you in the first place. Yeah.
Right. So like they have this is what is it, Jungle something security?
Yeah, jungle lines.
It's not even actually a company. So
Yeah.
you can have private security, but you know, you have a vehicle that's registered to Drake, but it's tied to a company that doesn't exist.
I wonder if that was supposed to be like a way to scare people or deter people, like the number
Yeah.
one Canadian security. But now they're finding out it was,
Nothing.
which is kind of wild though. Why would Drake not have like legitimate security then?
I don't know. I think it's because I don't know.
It's kind of crazy.
But yeah, the theory, guys, is that Drake sent out a hit on his own security to take off some of the heat from that he's receiving from the Kendrick beef.
Yeah.
So there's of course a lot of conspiracy theories. One, did he do it to take the heat off of him getting cooked by Kendrick? Two, did he try to set Kendrick up and make it try to look like he's the one that set the shooting up at Drake's house?
So people could be like,
look at Kendrick crazy.
Far. Yeah.
Or three, was the security guard the mole Drake found out and now shot him? Now, first and foremost, we don't know. I don't know the name, at least, of the security guard that got shot. So he's in critical condition. So this is very real. There was actually a shooting. That part is not staged. But a lot of people are theorizing, and now Toronto police or Ontario police are investigating this because they can't track the company. There's a lot of weird question marks about this, and I'm sure there's a reason for everything, but it's starting to make people raise eyebrows a little bit about Drake and his involvement with the shooting here.
Yeah.
And
that's
again,
so crazy that we caught the truck on camera. Like, it's probably just one truck, right? So that's the truck.
Yeah, and also in addition to that, for a little bit of context for those that aren't that paying that much attention to this beef, so this is a lot larger than just Kendrick. So there's also beef that Drake has had within Toronto in general for a long time, right? You know, just like with anywhere, you become popular, you make enemies. So Drake has enemies in Toronto that are people in rap, people that are street, quote unquote. I say street because it's Canada. No disrespect, but full disrespect. And people that are comparing street beef in America to Canada. But Cash XO, who is The Weeknd's manager, had his security guard shot up in LA a few days prior to this, or like a week or so prior to this. And people were saying that this could also be retaliation for that. Yeah. Now, the thing is, Cash XO's house got shot up in LA. Guns are more than legal in America. Canada is completely different. So somebody being able to get guns across the border, everything about it is just weird. There's a lot of question marks.
You wouldn't be able to get it across the border by driving.
Not at all.
And by plane, no. So it's like the gun either smuggled, somebody had clearance. It had to be someone who had clearance, which would be somebody maybe like a security company. Mm-hmm. He shot himself.
Yeah. It's all very confusing, but that's the latest beef update, basically. So now we're just going to wait to see
what's next.
What happens on Monday.
The page didn't tweet anything since the Kevin Samuels tweet, so.
We'll see what comes with that. We'll see what comes with the investigation of Drake.
I want to see if they ever release that security footage.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, like, that's what people are waiting for, like, the release of that footage, so we can see what was happening in the
hotel. For people that didn't see the screenshot, it's a screenshot of security footage of Drake in a hotel that supposedly has some ties to Weinstein or Weinstein support,
or Epstein too.
I'm sorry, was I saying Weinstein?
Yeah,
it's either Weinstein or Epstein.
It's Epstein.
It's Epstein.
On Twitter, yeah.
So Epstein, sorry, correction there. So Epstein and there's
always the Steens.
Yeah, there's OVO Juju is in the picture.
Say what people,
and someone in a wheelchair that supposedly has some connections to DJ Khaled. So all this stuff gets real freaky, and the specific date, you could see that it's tied to some of the evidence in the Meet the Grams video in terms of like items being thrown out or discarded, and supposedly also too, conspiracy theory that some of it might be considered an evidence bag. and that something happened that night that Drake might have made somebody mad, and so they took the evidence and had all that stuff in it. There's a lot of different conspiracies. I'm not substantiating anything until we get some evidence, but this is just kind of the latest update. If all this is true, everybody should stay away from Kendrick and leave that man alone.
Yeah.
Because this is some like Batman, Riddler, Joker type shit I've never even seen before.
And this could have been months planned out.
You clearly, because January 2023, like
Yeah.
that's a long time ago.
I'm
Like,
telling you, all this beef has inspired me. It's not even inspired me, but it made me wish like I've done my beefs better that I've had in life. Well, I think I've done my beefs pretty good. I've been very. I wasn't on my Riddler Batman, but I was on my chess moves. And some of it, but it's like, damn, it's making me wish like he's inspiring me to beef better.
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Just that reverse Uno cards, that planning, that plotting, that foreseeing what your enemy is going to do, you know, and having your moves planned out already based off what you already know they're gonna do. Having the stuff set up in advance. It's very inspiring.
And Kendrick said that in Not Like Us, where he said, "Hey Drake, they're not slow." Nah, they're slow. You know,
maybe he's talking about his fans, Kendrick fans.
Public,
the Drake fans are slow.
Public education in this country is questionable. Luckily, we live in Jersey, where our education is number one in the country. But for everyone else confused as to why this disproves what Drake was saying, because I saw a lot of people confused about that and why people were replying saying, "Oh, Drake is cooked." For those of you that are confused, the reason why this shows that Drake is cooked is because he lied and said that there was evidence planted a week ago that there was all the drugs and the screenshot and the Maybach gloves, all this stuff was planted a week prior to the whole diss track push-ups and all that kind of stuff. So he was lying that there was some fake mole and OVO that he was paying to have Kendrick confused and work with, like,
and we knew he was lying.
Yeah, we know he was lying. He's not that smart.
Yeah,
like, not saying that he's not intelligent, but like, that's too calculated for.
And then somebody like Drake would have been reeling in the fact that Kendrick took the bait. He would have he immediately would have been doing some subliminals on Instagram, laughing. Something.
Yeah.
He didn't come up with that idea until he saw that Instagram comment.
Right. He would have had the diss track ready saying, "Haha, you took the bait."
Yeah.
But he didn't have that ready.
That would have been too funny. It would
have been too easy
to come up with a crazy, clever bar and like laughing in his face. He would have dropped the receipts of the messages between the fake mold, the FaceTime call. Everything would have been recorded or something.
Right.
To show like, oh, we about to get this nigga. He's so stupid. He believes that he took the bait. They would have had some type of evidence. He's zero.
Yeah. Nothing. And then also he then replied with the Heart Part 6, which was very bad.
Yeah.
And it had like, let me be fair. So it's not even a Kendrick bias. The beat is super tough. I wish it was saved for something else, but he was just in a situation he couldn't win, and that's what it sounded. It was just a backpedaling song. So the song wasn't what it could have been. So yeah, because at one point in the song he was saying, and whoever fed you information is whatever. Yeah. But then he said that we're the one that fed the information. So it's like he was backpedaling and tripped over his own words. Like he don't even know what he's saying. Yeah. So this was like this. He was not thinking that this would even happen, right? Like when he was asking for Kendrick to be on first person shooter. Yeah. You weren't planning this evidence, like expecting for Kendrick to come and dish you on like that. Like, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they're giving him that much credit for saying that he planned all this, but he definitely didn't. I think that this, if it's true, because we don't know who's behind this account, but having all the items themselves, it's a little curious. Yeah. And the one thing that makes me feel like it's not Drake is because why would Drake want to plant the idea of I'm on Ozempic and I'm on sleeping pills? Yeah. It's a little weird, like kind of what you're saying that you planted. Yeah. It's weird. Why would you want to put people on your head like that? Yeah. And just to like turn around and refute it, it's like weird kind of setup. Yeah. So I don't think it's him, but that's basically the latest update that we have for now. Yeah. And yes, Kendrick is a scary individual, and I couldn't have foreseen this 2 weeks ago. The public perception of Drake, it turned quick. It's weird. Like this turned to something where
It is.
now
It does feel abnormal because
it,
like obviously you still have a lot of his fans are still riding for him, going crazy. There's still a lot of like likes and comments and people supporting Drake.
yeah,
But I just feel like the general consensus right now is that like if the average person, if you were to ask them who might be tapped in a little bit, even if very minorly tapped in, are gonna say like Kendrick.
yeah, and it's just bless you.
Oh, sorry.
Just the public perception change is so crazy. Like,
Yeah.
who would have thought? And I know people secretly hated Drake. I know people publicly hated Drake.
Yeah.
But now it's making, at a minimum, everybody's looking at him differently.
Yeah, because like that's the thing too. A lot of evidence that's being compiled now, or like just presented.
People are like, huh?
You had to realize a lot of people weren't even there. Too much stuff like that happened. Like,
Yeah.
so we think a lot. Like for me, like when I stopped liking Drake was around 2015, 2016. Like, how old was like our siblings then? Like our Maya and like your brother. Like how old were they when that happened? 2016. That was 9 years ago.
13.
8 years ago. 8 years ago. 2016.
13.
13. Yeah. So like they're middle school. Like they're not really tapped in. Maybe a little bit, right? But we were there. Like we were college. We were presently in the moment of the Meek beef, right? So you had to think like people like them, and then even the kids even younger, the kids who are 16 now, right? Like they were like what 4?
Yeah.
Like the people who are like 15, 16 now, they were like literally like 5, 6 years old back then, right? Like elementary school, so they weren't really aware. So I feel like a lot of people are like people didn't know about Drake having sex with Lil Wayne's girl while he was in jail.
Mm-hmm.
We knew because that's like was like crazy when we found that out. Like whoa, like that was wild, but that was so long ago. Like when we were like in middle school, high school, right? These kids weren't even born yet, right? Or they might have been like 2.
Yeah.
So it was
him
like
getting peed on,
him
punching
getting
the
peed
face,
on. Like a lot of people
all
are
that
like,
kind of
whoa,
stuff.
what is this? What is this? Because they just know Drake as present day in his prime, in his peak, and it's in his popularity. But they don't know the Drake that we remember, like from Degrassi, the nerdy weird guy who with the Canadian accent, like the Jewish guy, like that's what we known him as. And yeah, we saw what he grew into, but we still know who he is, and we seen all the scandals in real time. So it's like I think now the public perception is changing so much because it's almost like Drake was able to get away with the fact that so many people weren't aware of these things. Even the stuff that happened not so long ago with the Millie Bobby Brown stuff, a lot of people weren't really fully tapped into like all the weird stuff with that girl, that Bella Harris woman. All the different weird stuff. Even now, like, we're gonna get to this topic later, but like with Ruby Rose, like we were there for a lot of the stuff where a lot of older men were messing with young girls, and we seen it in real time, and it kind of got swept under the rug because no one really talked about it. So then the new generation doesn't understand or even know. So that's why why this was such a hard hitter, because it's like information that was already kind of known by a lot of people is becoming known again, or reminded. People are being reminded, and you're able to now put it together a piece of puzzle, right? Like Drake has all the weird stuff with the minor stuff, right? Or like the younger people. But now you have so much evidence over the years from earlier stuff, from that incident on the stage to some of his lyrics. And now you can paint this whole picture where it's like, okay, there's a pattern there. Before you might have had a piece of it. Like we might have just been the Millie Bobby Brown. We're like, okay, we have that. Oh, in the stage incident. But now there's so much. There's this whole big painting. And it's just like, it's just crazy. And then, obviously that him getting ab surgery. There's just so many different angles. And like people just realizing, like, okay, this guy is kind of weird and corny. Yeah, he is a culture vulture. Like the culture vulture thing been an accusation for him, right? But now it's like, okay, Kendrick just broke that down. Like, yeah, he really did go to Atlanta and take all this stuff. Like, oh yeah, look at him talking about slaves. Oh, look at him using Tupac and Snoop Dogg. Like, yeah, this guy is really corny. Like, okay, he has good music, but wait, he really is corny. And I've been peeped this, right? Like 2016. Like, you guys can see the tweets on my page, old text messages. I've been a Drake hater, low key. Like, I've always acknowledged he has great music. Always acknowledged his talent. Like, I'm not a hater. But I just always thought he was a cornball and weird and did people dirty and grimy. And now it's like this mass awakening, and it's just crazy. Like, and I knew Kendrick would be the person to do it. I didn't doubt once in this beef that Kendrick wasn't going to be able to go head to head with him. Like, at its core, like, you can't, a true Black American versus a guest to the culture. Like, the people who are true to the culture are always going to be able to resonate with the real people in the culture. Like at the end of the day, like, yeah, Drake's going to resonate with the popularity, but Kendrick is going to tap in with the culture. And in this case, he got the popularity also. So, he just wins. So, yeah, who would have thought I was hoping for this day. Really, I was hoping for this day, but who would have... I'm just kidding. I wasn't sitting around like waiting for the downfall of Drake. No, I really wasn't. Like, I actively don't think about that man, like, or his music. I really don't. Like, some stuff happens. I'm like, oh my God, he's so corny. But I never foreseen a downfall, so I never anticipated it. You know what I mean? Like, I just never anticipated it because he's so popular. am I like kind of happy to see people kind of hate on him? Yeah, but at the end of the day, like it's just more so I want everybody to be exposed for who they are, for people to like not get away with stuff. Like that's my whole thing at the end of the day. I hate when people get away with corny shit. I hate when people get away with fraud shit. So I just like when people are finally able to acknowledge like the lameness of somebody. So I don't wish bad on nobody, but I just wish for everybody to be exposed for who they are. Like, and I'm just glad that this is his time. And if he is really doing some pedophile stuff, like I really do hope there's some type of justice, because that is like foul. Like we don't know for sure, but who people were shocked when R. Kelly and Bob, Bob, what's his name? Bill Cosby, like
Bob.
I was about to say Bob Cosby, Bill Cosby, like those are for a lot of those people, that was their idols, that were their heroes. So I know for Drake's a lot of people's heroes and idols, but these are still human beings at the end of the day who have some weird, things that they do. So if those things are true, I hope that gets uncovered and exposed, because that's nothing to play with, bro. So.
All right.
Yeah, but who would have thought, right?
So
It's kind of weird. It is kind of weird seeing the general public kind of hate this man right now. But who knows? We'll see if this is long lasting or if this is just a trend.
yeah. And that was the latest beef update for now.
Yeah, who knows what we'll have a week from now? Ooh, it's kind of it's definitely died down a little bit, right? This peak was definitely last week, but we'll see what happens, because it might be something like, all right, calm before the storm again, right? Like you might be in the eye of the hurricane right now, and then it goes back to being in the other side of it again. So we'll see.
In other news, this has kind of been like a trend that's been going on with Kendrick with the whole A minor bar, and now people are just starting to pull up all of the instances where celebrities are have been like messing around with younger women. I haven't really seen the opposite where older women messing with young men, but obviously we know that happens as well. But basically, people have been taking that Kendrick A minor bar and then just doing like compilations of pictures of celebrities, mostly the men, with younger girls. So this brought up a topic about Ruby Rose, and basically her making a lot of tweets when she was younger, taking trips to go fly out to the clubs when she was a teenager, and potentially messing with, talking to older men, her line about her age to these older men, or the older men even knowing how old she is, right? Like the game DMing her when she was a teenager. We had people like Travis Scott, Ian Connor, Playboy Cardi.
Playboy Cardi was her age.
He was.
He's 1996, so he had to have been only a year older than her. That doesn't count. They met in high school, I think, or middle school, whatever. They actually dated. Like
anybody else?
They were the same age. The people that were older was Travis Scott, 21 Savage, and Ian Connor. They were like in their 20s messing with her. And then Game was in his 30s DMing her. Future, potentially. Was it Future? Or Doug. I think she did test he meant Future, but we don't know what that meant. But Young Doug, apparently there was something there because she was arguing with his baby mama in 2016. Like there was definitely some weird argument with them like online, so they had to have something there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she met him when she was 16. But yeah, Playboy Cardi, no, he was 1996, right? So he's 28, she's 27 right now, or he's 27, she's 26. So they were, I think they literally were a legitimate couple, like dating. I think that's how she got linked to a lot of stuff, possibly. Like she was in Atlanta scene, right? And that was the time, 2015, 2016, 2014, 2016. That was like Atlanta boom, So she just happened to be in the mix of it. And I think Playboy Cardi probably has to do with her being in the mix a little bit, because he was, that was her boyfriend, and he was coming up at the time. So she just like was just right place, right time, right? Right place, right time, But yeah, those were like the ones that we know for sure was 21 Savage, Travis Scott, Ian Connor. Those are the three for sure. Young Thug is, we don't know. Future, we don't know. The Game, she said DM'd her, so weird.
Yeah, and the football player tweets.
Potentially Chargers players, any other NFL players. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it's kind of like bringing up the question about Ruby Rose in general, and whether she is considered fast or easy, whatever industry, whatever, or if she was really a victim and basically preyed on, and that's why she kind of became. And I want to make it clear, because I don't want to use my words to make it sound like I think she's a certain type of way, but the way she's perceived, like being and I really don't like to use the words that other people use, but quote unquote being a pass around. If she's really just like that by nature, or if she was preyed on by older men, and that's what kind of put her in that position. Because we've seen with people that have been assaulted when they're younger, that they end up becoming older and they stay like they end up being in those ways, like they're just more sexually charged, and
I
maybe
mean,
that's
we don't
why
know. Yeah, we don't know
we
her
don't know. And
childhood,
I don't even want to put that on
her
nobody.
teen days. We don't know if maybe something happened with a classmate. Yeah.
Who knows? And that's why I don't want to put nothing on nobody. I'm not
Yeah.
accusing her of any of these things, but it just led to a conversation where we can have outside of just her, but just
Yeah.
women or even men in general, because this affects both.
Yeah, because that is always a cause of why some people like are more promiscuous than others. That is usually like a link. It's them, feeling things they shouldn't have been feeling at a certain age. So
Yeah.
we don't know, but it's speculation. Also, it could just be the fact that like at the time, like she did kind of fit the mold of like what was considered like pretty, and you know what I mean. Like that was the stage of like the curly hair, like racially ambiguous woman boom. Like we had India Love, who kind of looked like her, like similar, like curly hair, petite body. I feel like that was like the trend, right? Like the curly hair thing was a big thing around that era. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember the
And it kind of
Tumblr.
still, the Tumblr era, and it kind of ended like maybe not even that long ago, like maybe 2019, 2018. But that was like that time period, like 2013, 2012, so like 2018. We had the big curly hair, like even the girl we went to school with, like she kind of fit that mold, and I think that's probably why she got so many followers. That was like just the time, the petite girl with like the kind of maybe a little bit racially ambiguous, like fair skin, light skin, whatever you want to say, curly hair. So she probably was getting a lot of attention too, which sometimes promotes people to live that life. Like, could they feel like grown and cool, and they're feeling validated. So it could be a lot of causes, but that definitely could be part of it too.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And then she was in Atlanta, like I said, during the boom. Like you was to be a teen in Atlanta at that time, I'm sure it was a crazy time.
Yeah, and let's take her out of it specifically, um, if you want, because again, I don't want to delve into somebody and not necessarily know about everything about
I mean,
them.
the only thing we could like, you're trying to like broaden the conversation. Cause I was saying the only thing we could say with her is just like on the topic, like, I don't know if she'll ever like acknowledge that she's a victim. Cause I feel like with someone like her, like, yeah, like there two things could be true. You could definitely be fast. You could definitely be trying to be grown, be lying about your age. Your parents not necessarily doing the right job and letting you just do whatever, right? But at the same time, we also do have to say like the adult at the end of the day is the one that has the power. Like
That's what I wanted to get into.
the adult, you do your due diligence. You know that, like, I feel like we all were 17, 16 at one time. We know what it's like to be 17 and 16. You have a conversation with somebody, you could tell when they're that age. Even do a little bit of digging. Like Ruby seemed like the type that was always talking about high school, always talking about her age. Like she had hashtag almost legal on her birthday. Like she didn't seem like the type of person that hid her age. An easy little quick research to just not be a weirdo and to do your due diligence, like to make sure that you're not taking advantage of somebody who might be lying, right? Like, yeah, people do lie about their age. Maybe she wanted to sneak around and be grown. But as the adult, you do that job. Like you're at the end of the day the gatekeeper of everything. Like don't like why you want to be a weirdo? Why you want to hang out with teens? Why you want to have sex with teens? Like you're weird. So it doesn't matter what Ruby was on. She could have been the fastest person, dotting around her high school, whatever. But as an adult, you have the power. The power is in your hand. The power dynamic is in your hand. And you're a creep. You're a weirdo, and you need to be locked under the jail. Like you're sick. Cause there's no reason to even acknowledge or even be attracted to a teenager. Like I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Like I get science. I get like, body development. Like all those things people try to use as excuses. But it's like, you still know they're under 18. Like you still know they're a child that lives under the roof with their parents. Like that's just crazy to me. Ugh. But anyway, so we can't blame her. I hate how people are trying to like point the finger at Ruby. Like it doesn't matter what type of girl she was. The adult at the end of the day had the power. So.
Yeah. Because I saw somebody trying to make that same argument when we watched that Dan Schneider doc, and then one of the celebrity support, they said, "Oh, I'm sure he was enticed to do it."
Yeah, that's always the thing.
I'm like,
or
what?
they probably was talking, like she probably was all in his ear, like what? Like who cares what the person was doing? You're the adult.
Bro, you tell him. I don't even want to say this sentence.
It's so weird.
But if you're telling me a 14-year-old was to sending you sexual messages
Yeah, and
that
enticing
like, and you
you.
were like, that was
Yeah,
enticing to you, you need to
like
die.
you're
Like you need to
disgusting.
die.
Like
Like
it's always an excuse.
I'm taking the Drake thing out of it specifically. But when Kendrick was like, people like Weinstein need to die, like that's where my stance is.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you sitting there, and knowingly, because you could tell when somebody's a teenager
You
for the
can.
most part. Sometimes you can't, and like because they were saying that with the Josh Giddey situation, that this girl looked old enough and she was in an establishment that was supposed to be certain ages. So
Yeah,
naturally, in your mind, you wouldn't think, oh, this she might be underage.
yeah.
Still, always you need to be checking IDs anyway.
There's definitely. I'm not gonna lie. And there's definitely people who genuinely just didn't know. Like
Right.
I could. I'm not gonna say that as a catch-all. Like
But
that.
if you know, and that's still what you're going for, you gotta die. Like
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say I'm sorry. Like you gotta go. Like the
And
world
that's
would
what I
be a
do
better
feel like with
place
the
without
Ruby
you.
thing. You had to have known because it's like she's in high school. She posted all the time her in her high school bathroom. Like that was like her. I don't even remember.
Yeah,
Like that's why I kind of
I
remember.
don't
I remember
remember that.
describing her from that time because she always like her pictures of her in the bathroom were always viral. Like her college and high school bathroom pictures. But you know she's in school. Like come on.
No.
She posted prom pictures. Like she went to prom in 2015. Like
Damn.
because she's a year younger behind us. So remember we went 2014 prom. So she had prom pictures that were like viral. Like come on, you knew she was in high school. Like
Yeah.
it's literally like nasty.
That's why I wanted to broaden it outside of like her specifically, because like I don't want to speak to somebody else's experiences, and we really don't legitimately know.
Mm-hmm.
But from what we do know of the men, like it's
Especially
just
Ian Connor, because Ian Connor has allegations of like multiple like
yeah,
weird stuff with women.
yeah,
And that's why it's just unfortunate. That's why I don't think Ruby, like I said, views herself as a victim because she defended Ian in the
yeah,
midst of all that stuff a few years ago when all that was going on. So
yeah. She don't even know.
maybe even now that she's a little older and she's more mature, maybe she'll start realizing. Maybe that's why she's deleting tweets. And maybe all the stuff people telling her now, like maybe she'll realize, yeah, that was crazy. Maybe it'll take for her to have her own daughter one day to realize it. But it's like, come on, these were grown men. At the end of the day, no matter what you were doing, they had no reason. No
Yeah.
reason. And this is a shame because, like, I'm a fan of Travis, but it just makes me like think twice. Like, damn, like he might really be a weirdo.
And who knows what more might come out of that too? Because like it's not. This is not the first time the behavior from the men. This is their first time doing it. That's the
Yeah, it's
thing,
not.
and it's definitely not gonna be the last. So it's like you just caught them in the middle of them doing this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like we don't have any evidence of them doing it again necessarily, and not that I've looked for it, but it's like the fact that is one thing that this whole Kendrick thing with the A minor stuff
Yeah.
it has been with the exposing. It's like I knew it was a thing, and I knew in the entertainment industry it was really a thing, but it's just becoming so much more like wow, like this is a lot of people doing
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. And I think I've been trying to wrap my mind around it. Like you've seen me the last couple of days, just kind of like trying to talk myself through it and understand.
It just doesn't seem
It just
like
doesn't, it seems
it
so
seems
crazy
so
to me.
weird.
And I don't get
Like,
it. I don't,
there's
honestly, I
so
really
many
don't.
women out there. Like, why do you want the
Like,
high schooler? Like,
I
why do
don't,
you want, like, it's just like, it's something
it's
that's
a
really
sickness.
creepy to me. It is a sickness. And I think for them too, they feel a level of purity that they're getting from a younger woman. Like, maybe they feel like, I don't know, like,
I don't even want to give them excuses.
no, that's what,
Or cop
no, it's
outs.
not
Yeah.
even cop outs. It's literally like, I'm just trying to explain maybe the sick mentality of
Yeah.
their brains. Like, it's just creepy.
I
It's like it's nasty to me. 'Cause I can't like literally as a 27-year-old. Like I literally when I'm around teenagers, I'm just like ooh, like annoyed. Like I can't understand that they're being attractive and like, attracted and like just feeling like you don't feel like a creep. Like I don't understand. They don't feel like a creep and a weirdo.
yeah.
Like
I feel like
it's just so crazy to me.
there's been also a lot of common themes that have come up with the Drake thing too. Like we know Drake to be Drake today, but I think your formative years between like your high school and college years is really who you are at the end of the day. And I think that a lot of people that get into entertainment, I think like when you think about actors, people that are actors, they're in film school, they're eclectic, they're artsy,
Yeah.
not necessarily going to be perceived as the same way as the people that are star athletes, for example, or the pretty people that are in school. So and this is not to take an attack on people that are artsy, because artsy people run the world for sure. And I love everybody that's into music, acting, drawing, painting, whatever art form. But what I do find commonly is that people that are into that have a certain like personality type that might not necessarily be attractive to the general masses.
Yeah.
So for lack of a better word, I think that there's a lot of people that end up being quote unquote losers. Not people specifically in arts, but just in general. Like there's the losers that are losers during their formative years, and then once they become famous, then they take on this like demonic persona where they're gonna now, they form those drug habits and sexual habits. They start going crazy because they're trying to prove something to the younger
Yeah. So
version of themselves.
And yeah.
And y'all didn't like me when I was 14, so now I'm gonna go and run through and try to take everybody's wives.
And another thing too, I feel like their brains are not even developed. Like maybe some of them still feel like they're in high school because like they say Travis was like what 23 when the stuff was going on. Ian Connor was like 23, 22. So it's like you are not that far removed from college, but you're removed enough. I mean, from high school, but you are removed enough. But I feel like maybe somewhere in their brains they still feel like they're that age, or like you said, they're like trying to prove them, like they're trying to relive their high school experience that they didn't have. So it's like they feel like now that they have the money, the fame, like I don't know. It's just crazy because like the older I get, like I just realize like how a lot of men, even like men like that we've known, people are just really cornballs. Like a lot of people are really cornballs, really lame, and you could tell when they're trying to like prove something or compensate for something. They try to like live this life. So when you actually have access to like the money and like the connections, like somebody like an Ian Connor, like come on, look at these men. They're short. They're like they're ugly looking. Like no offense, Travis. Like you see how he looked. They look like kind of like not the most conventionally attractive people who are not not tall. They're short. Like Ian Connor's what like 5'4", 5'5". He's short. So you have all these kind of like weirdo niggas who like aren't good looking, who now get this money and fame, and like you could tell they just take advantage of it. So then they could get the pretty girl who's impressionable, who's just like she likes you and sleeping with you because you got money. But it's just like it's so many layers to it.
Yeah, and nobody's gonna like you more than the woman. And I don't.
Sorry, not to interrupt, but 21 Savage too. We were just talking about that in the car. Like he's definitely dweeb type. Came from England, or right, the UK. Mm-hmm. So identity crisis. Didn't know himself. So now it's like you feeling yourself. You feeling cool. You was a nerdy little quirky kid from England trying to hide your accent, and now you get this money and fame. So now you're gonna try to run to the Ruby Rose. Like it's creepy. It's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were you saying? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I don't remember, but
we were talking about like the weirdos who get cool.
Yeah, it's just nobody's going to want you more for those things than somebody that's young, because the older the woman is, the more likely she has her shit together because she has to. So she's gonna have a job, she's gonna have her own money more likely than not. Not all in all cases, because that doesn't mean anything always.
No.
And sometimes the teenager can have more bread than the person that's older. But in general, the teenager is going to look up to those things a lot more, right? Like somebody that's like the lifestyle that we live, for example, I would have looked up to somebody like that as a teenager.
And
but now that
definitely
I'm here,
been hanging out like, oh, like, yeah, let me go to your apartment. Let me go to, let me get some alcohol, right? Like, cause that's what they try to pull you in with. Oh, we got drinks at the crib. Come through, invite your friends. We're going to have a party, right? Like,
I don't mean that.
I mean like if you would have met somebody like let's say you would have met your future self like at 14, let's say you would have met you now, you would have been inspired and like maybe possibly like if they were like if somebody like imagine your present day you invited your 14-year-old you here was like, oh, we got alcohol, we got nice city views, like come through, like you would definitely try to like go to that area just to experience the lifestyle.
Maybe somebody else, not me personally.
Yeah, I didn't mean you personally, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Like,
yeah, so like that kind of thing.
You're just more impressionable when you're that age.
When you're older and you have these things, it's not as impressive. So it's like, but as a teen, you're gonna view these things as being like, oh my god, like look at this, look at that. But it's I guess that's why they do it.
And you're trying to flex to your classmates. So if you pulled up with Ian Connor and all the celebrities, all the up and coming Atlanta artists, I'm sure Ruby Rose was all like, yeah, look, like that's why she was tweeting it. Oh, Future DM'd me last night. Or no, I met Future last night. What did she say, right? I think that's what she did. I met Future last night. Oh my God. The game DM'd me. Oh my God. Like, you want to brag. Because you feel like you're cool and like all these celebrities are talking to you. Because you're young. You don't realize these niggas are weirdos and creeps that have no business talking to you. Yeah. You think it's a flex. And it's sad. Because these grown men, like I said, they're the ones that the ball's in their court. You know right from wrong.
Yeah, I especially don't get it because it's like you have women out there that exist.
Yeah, they're throwing themselves at you. Grown women who look
That look.
like really good. Like, why do you want to mess with a teen?
It's so weird to me. I can't wrap my mind around it, but I guess it's a good thing because they said if you can wrap your mind around it, you might be one too.
I can't literally can't.
Cannot think of it.
Because there's women that do it too.
There are.
We hear so
The
many stories about
teachers.
the teachers, the tutors, like even these rappers don't even realize they victims. They be talking about, I lost my virginity to my tutor. Like what?
I heard Chief Keef came out with a song about that.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I did, recently. Like that's insane. She was like
Lil
20 years old.
Wayne.
And, yeah, it's sad and sick. And the women that do it too are really weirdos and sick. Like it's just like, oh my god.
But it's so common. It's just so
it's
crazy
so common.
to me.
It like literally makes me feel sick.
I never would have thought that it was such a thing until now. Like I don't even get how you get in these situations. It's just like I don't know. I can't get it. But it's like the entertainment industry apparently just runs wild. Also, Vitality, YouTuber, just caught the Space Jam producer with a 15-year-old that he set him up, caught him. And I think he's just been catching other people doing the same stuff. And I'm like, why is it this common? Like it's just
even
crazy.
When to spin Drake back into this, because this is how we why everybody's starting to do this research on other rappers, right? And even Joe Budden and Metro Boomin, like all people are just doing research on everybody.
People talking about young girls.
Yeah. Drake's dad. What's his name?
The video, Dennis.
Yeah, not even that video, right? Were they young in that video? Were they 17?
No, they weren't young, but it's just the weirdness.
Yeah, the weirdness. But no, the thing with him that I just found out the other day, because what's the name of an interview? He follows that girl. Her name's Aya. Aya. You ever hear of her? You if I show you her. I think I'm pretty sure she's still under 18, or she might have just turned 18. But she's been around on TikTok for a while. You definitely seen her. He follows her. This girl. You know this girl, right?
The only reason I know her is because I feel like she's been in a lot of those
she was in Ice Spice's video too. Remember people were saying, why does Ice Spice have a 16-year-old twerking in her video?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The only reason I noticed is because that there's been some streamers that have her on. I didn't know that she was famous.
Yeah, no, like you see she has 7 million followers. I'm pretty sure she's like 17, but she got famous when she was like 14, 13. Like, and people were like, why is it like... And she'd be like being promiscuous and like thinking she's grown, right? Like anybody at that age, kind of, right? But why does Drake dad follow her?
That's weird.
And how old is Drake dad? Like 50, 60?
I've only seen her because streamers been doing trying to bag girls on stream.
Mm-hmm.
Would have never. Not that I would have looked into it necessarily, but I wouldn't have necessarily even thought that she was that young. But now I know. Now I get why those videos were getting so many views. That's probably why. I didn't know she was famous either. Mm-hmm. But it's just, I don't know.
Is this him to Instagram?
Yeah.
Let's see if he's still following her. Maybe he stopped because everything that's going on. Ooh, I think maybe he unfollowed her. Cause he definitely was following her. And then there was an interview where they asked her, like, do you know Drake's dad follows you? And she was just like, yeah. And then she was talking about, like, they were asking a whole bunch of questions about him and Drake, and she was just like, I'm not going to speak on that. Like, it could police. She just something about police. Interview? Yeah. She said something about police. I'm like, what?
We could look it up after this. But,
yeah, no. Yeah.
Interesting.
It was really weird.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff, too. Even
it was this interview
people
with this
saying,
guy.
That's where I'm seeing it from. I didn't know that was a thing.
And they were asking about, like, Drake and the dad following her. Yeah, and it's just like.
Oh, so I watched this.
Yeah. And she was just like.
Well, not that specific question, but that's why I'm saying, like, the streamers.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know she was famous, but I do remember, seeing that video.
And like I said, she was in Ice Spice's video, which was weird. Remember, I don't know if we talked about that in the pod, but we were saying how that was weird, too. Like, why do you have a 16-year-old twerking in your video?
I didn't watch it for obvious reasons,
like, I just can't understand. I really just can't get it. Like, maybe they're just so dumb, or they're so slow, or they're victims themselves, and they're so indoctrinated. They think this is normal. They think this is, like, that's what, I'm not going to, like, downplay it. And maybe some of them are so damaged because they grew up in environments like that. But it's like, so they think this is normal. It's not. Like, why do you have a 16-year-old twerking in your video? Like, what are we doing? It's just crazy. It's very crazy.
Yeah. So honestly, first of all, I know people want to document their life and their progressions of their life through their Twitter, but like, delete your tweets at a minimum. Obviously,
but not always though, because imagine Ruby deleted these tweets already. Like, I think it's a good thing that she didn't, because now we were able to realize that a lot of these men are weird. Like, expose them. She's
different. I'm talking about, like, mostly for, like,
Oh,
Not the
the
men,
people,
the
the
men,
men,
but not
yeah.
that not that I'm saying that they should delete them and hide for the fact that they did these things. But I'm just saying, like, I know that we lived in different times, so people were saying certain stuff. Like I saw the Joe
Yeah.
Budden tweet where he said these young girls know how to do certain
And
things.
you know, it's funny. Someone replied to me that like Joe Budden's old. He probably his translation of young is
Young is
probably a
different,
29-year-old.
and I didn't want to. I don't want to give him any like
Yeah, give him any rope.
any
Well,
leeway with that, but because the wording still is nuts. But you know,
young to him can mean like our age, like
yeah,
27.
yeah, and he tweeted that a long time ago. But like,
Yeah.
still, like people, it's just I don't know. I don't even honestly. I'm like at a loss of words because I don't even know where we are as a society at this point.
It's crazy.
It's just like the hypersexual nature of everyone and like the internet and Twitter and Reddit and everything.
Yeah. And the
It's
thing
just
is,
gotten
I
so
feel like
far.
I'm fine. What I worry about is like our kids. Like I don't,
It's
I'm
gonna be
not worried
worse.
about us. You know, I'm like we're good. Like I know how to evade this stuff. I know who I am. Like I'm not like down with any of this stuff. You know.
No Diddy.
Yeah, but like I worry about my kids. I worry about the future generation. Like you know, our nephew. Like I worry about people like them. Like, and I just hope that they'll be all right. I think if you have a good household structure, that helps a lot. It's not always 100% right, but it helps. So it's just crazy out there. It's really crazy. The one thing I would want like our kids to know for sure is like if any man or woman is like older and like don't think that stuff is cool or flattering. Like it's creepy and they're weird. Like I feel like if you embed that in their mind, like you know your kids are gonna do whatever they want to do. They're humans. They're their own people. They're gonna do whatever they want to do. But if you could just embed those things in them and just let them know like that stuff is not normal or cute, like it's just sick.
Yeah. Got anything else on this one?
I just feel like unfortunately all these men are being quote unquote exposed. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's gonna go nowhere. Like people are gonna push it under the rug. Like it's not gonna get enough attention. None of this.
Cat Williams
No
said it
one's
was.
ever gonna be held accountable unless, like what you said, Cat Williams
He
said.
said it was gonna be this year,
Unless there's open cases already.
and
Because we don't know if the Ruby is just one. That's the thing. Ruby is just one person.
mm-hmm.
If they were doing that with Ruby, it was probably so many other women that are victims who might speak out. So
Right, and that was the whole thing with the Me Too movement. Like
yeah,
there
Me
could be
Too.
another revolution of because they were bringing up teenagers, high school girls that were going to Drake parties. So
Yeah.
who knows? This could be like a way larger revolution, for lack of
Yeah.
a better word, that's going on right now. And maybe Drake pissed off the wrong person in the Illuminati, and now he's getting taken down for it. Who knows?
I just feel like anybody who's doing that, I don't care how good your music is, let me know. Like it's crazy because it is kind of confirmed that Travis was with Ruby, so it's like it makes me wonder like should we be like supporting him? Like I don't know. It's like it sucks. It's like a shitty situation.
I don't know, man.
Then like now I see why R. Kelly fans were so like distraught, like because it's like what do you do? Like this is the person whose music was so impactful and meaningful to you, and it's like damn, they're weird. They're not even just weird. They're literally criminals. They're pedophiles. They're creeps. It's beyond weird. It's literally criminal.
Yeah. I wonder if anything legal comes from any of this stuff.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think the statute of limitations is statutory rape,
I don't think so.
which that's what it will be. What's the age of consent in Georgia?
I don't think it matters. That's the thing. Like, because people keep bringing that up. First of all, the people that bring that up as a defense, we're looking at you next.
Yeah.
Because you defending another man
Like
messing with a teenager.
Yeah, and if you had to bring up like, oh, what's the age? If you had to do that, then you shouldn't be with
If you're
person.
looking up the statute of limitations and you're looking up the legal age and all that other shit, you're next and you need to go. We're gonna bury you under the jail.
There are people who be excusing it. Like there's literally like people
Yeah.
on Twitter too. My mentions like trying to be like, oh, but did she say her age? I'm like, oh my god, like you're weird. You're weird. That's the one thing I'm not defending. I be defending men sometimes. That's the one thing I'm not defending is that shit.
Yeah, and the people that are looking for a reason to defend someone, and I get people being wrongfully accused of stuff, but if
Yeah.
you're the person that's like purposefully
yeah.
trying to defend somebody else, it's like, all right, we're gonna have to look at you. We're looking at you too.
Yeah.
Because you look a little crazy defending another man that don't know you exist.
Yeah. Over some crazy allegations.
Yeah. Especially when there's evidence and
multiple evidence.
these things are coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
Like
Literally.
age ain't nothing but a number. These young girls know how to do crazy you defending those phrases is like you're next on the list, and you
What
need
did
to be registered.
academics say? Bad baby got mad titties for a 15-year-old. But he said something like that. I'm like, what? Like, and these men are like self-incriminating themselves. That's the funny part. Like, oh my God. I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's sad. Please.
Let's move on.
I do not want my kids around you guys, around your kids, around these weirdos. Those, please, and my future kids. I'm gonna try to protect you.
And I know Twitter was a different world back then, but never. And I was wilding on Twitter, but never under any circumstances did I take it to that level. And I was a teenager during that time, so I know we were wild. Twitter was a wild, wild west. For those of you that didn't get to experience that, I'm sorry. I guess it's kind of somewhat getting back to that a little bit now, but still nowhere can compare to back then. People were saying it.
Crazy
insane
stuff.
shit.
Yeah.
But nowhere in that time frame did I ever think to say anything like that, even when I was that age.
Like pedophilic type of stuff,
Yeah, y'all niggas is wild, but.
And we were teens during that. These were grown. These were grown men.
That's what I'm saying.
So, like 30, 20s, like weird, very strange.
Yep. Well, praying for everybody. Hopefully, Ruby gets some healing if she needs it.
Yeah, who knows? She might really be hurting deep down.
Yeah, especially when this kind of stuff comes up, because it's like now your whole existence is being picked apart by the internet, and not everybody knows.
And now you might be realizing maybe I am a victim. Like you know, a lot of people don't go to therapy, so maybe they do therapy for themselves, and maybe she's now having like a self-realization moment. Like, damn, maybe I am a victim. Like these grown men really have no reason. So continuing the conversation about weirdos and sus stuff. There was a video, and I'm trying to let me get the actual name so we could for people to have reference. But there was a teacher who had students unbraiding his hair, and people are trying to talk about like boundaries with teachers and teacher-student dynamic. The teachers that are trying to be content creators and like them filming content in their classrooms and posting videos of minors probably without their permission and not the parents' permission online. You know, like so many people would do that, which I always felt was like very inappropriate.
Sorry to cut you off, but to jump in on that, don't use my kid.
I've seen it so much. Even people like I know personally, I'm like, why are you posting these kids?
Don't post my kid, bro. Like they're in there to learn. They never posted no videos, no VHS tapes, no digital camcorder pics, no videos on the phone. Like they never posted any of that stuff when we were in school. And you're there to teach my kid. Our taxpayer money is going to pay for your salary to teach my kid. Do not post any content under your TikTok profiles using my kid for clout so you can hopefully get enough money so you don't have to teach anymore. We're not doing that. Sorry, continue.
And I think his name is Tillumination, by the way. Tillumination. But yeah, crazy. Like, you shouldn't be trying. Like, first of all, if you're a teacher, like, I get it. No one should pigeonhole themselves. And, you know, like, we're in such a world now where anybody kind of could become famous and influencer. Like, so yeah, you shouldn't necessarily, like, if you're a teacher, that's just it. Your life's over. You can't pursue any other thing that you want to pursue. Like, sure, like, you could pursue content creation, but you could do that without posting your students. You could talk about how you prepare your classroom. You could even show videos of you maybe talking and, like, you maybe hear their voices, but you don't see them. But, like, why are we showing kids' faces who have parents? Like, that's, but, like, you probably didn't ask, like I said, their permission. Second, why is my kid in school where they're supposed to be learning and they're unbraiding your hair? Like, unbraiding your hair is not even, like, that's nasty. Like, our hair is dirty and disgusting. Like, you got my daughter touching your greasy ass, dirty ass braids. Like, ew. Like, that's so nasty. And like, low key, I feel like that the concept of doing hair is such like a kind of like, I want to say it's kind of an intimate exchange.
I would say it is.
But it is because, like, you know, that's why it's always a joke about when hairstylists are women and then women be like, oh, I'm about to learn how to braid my nigga's hair because I'm not gonna have no woman there touching my man's head. Like, it is intimate. Like, you're touching somebody's personal space. Like, you're in their scalp. You're in, like, you know, like, it's a very, like, a mother-daughter partner type of thing that you do with people, like, close to you, like, or, you know, or your stylist, right? Like, why are you doing that with students?
Yeah, I get it. Like, it's not a sexual act, but it's definitely intimate. Yeah. Like, when I'm getting my hair braided,
it feels like
it feels good. Like, you're gonna take my head, pull it back against her, start touching your hair, right? Like, and in this video, it's not like they're necessarily doing that, but it is like physical touch, right? My kid, and I want to be very clear while I'm looking into this camera, my kid there should never be any sort of physical contact between my kid and and the teacher.
Imagine as a dad too.
Listen
your
to
daughter.
Me. I promise you. I promise you, if I went on TikTok and I just happened to see my daughter touching a grown ass man's head,
Pull up to that school.
He's gonna
Like,
meet.
that's crazy.
He's gonna meet my friends Heckler and Koch.
Bruh, that's what a lot of men were saying online. Like, the women, for some reason, a lot of moms are defending it because they probably want the nigga, like, fucking weirdos. But, like, a lot of the men are saying, like,
Listen to me.
bruh, let that be my daughter. Like,
I don't want to go full.
like, look at this is so creepy.
I don't want to go full Joe Budden and start throwing shit around the room. But realistically, like, if I go on a social media platform and find out that you had my daughter touching your hair, or touching you in any way, or you were touching her, or touching her hair in any way,
yeah, like, what are we doing?
There's not enough amount of jail time that could exist that would prevent me from ever doing something to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put head, shoulders, knees, and toes all over you.
Yeah, like.
And I will put you into the earth with both of my bare hands.
Because that's crazy.
And I mean that with every bone in my body.
Because for me, it's like, why are you doing that?
Why are you, bro?
Like,
we're there to learn.
And my whole thing is too, why are you taking
Do your
your hair
times
out
tables.
at work? Like,
Yeah.
like imagine me unbraiding, like, you know, both of us. Imagine us unbraiding our hair in the middle of our office. Like, why? Like, go home and do that. Why are you unbraiding your hair at work?
And I want to wash my hair after it's unbraided. It's
Yeah,
just
like,
weird.
it's very weird.
And what was his excuses? It was like, oh, it's a cultural experience. And I'm
like they learn that at
no.
home. Then they're black. They'll learn that at home. I'm sure they unbraided hair before. They probably helped their mom,
Clearly, I could
their
tell.
siblings. Yeah, like
They were using a comb. They
you
were
don't
taking
need to
it out
learn
the
that
right
from
way.
school. Like there has to be boundaries too. Like at the end of the day, even if it's not considered inappropriate, there has to be a teacher-student boundary. Like people always want to talk about parent-kid boundaries, right? There's so many people that defend still hitting your kids, but then people want to defend this and be like, oh, that's the type of teachers we should have. Community builders, no. Like they're there to teach. That's it. Like they're not there to teach hair on braid. Like if your kid want to learn hair stuff, then they go to cosmetology school. They're there to learn whatever they're learning for. And that's why, no offense, these kids today are dumb. They're not learning. Like I'm worried because these kids are stupid today. They don't know how to read. They don't know how to write. They're illiterate.
And their teachers want to make content because
their teachers want to be famous. Like
they hate their jobs and they don't want to actually really work with kids.
TikTokers.
They want to be TikTokers.
Yeah, they don't have no real passion for it. Like they're using your kids to make content to try to go viral like weirdos. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, we're in a different world.
And the fact that people are defending this are really wild. And then he got fired apparently. So now they're like, oh look, you guys got a black teacher fired. And I don't know if you remember. I think we talked about this before. That black psychologist that got fired, who was going online talking shit about black men. Like nobody got them fired except themselves. These people are not taking their profession seriously. They want to be content creators. That's why, like, even with me with my job, I like try to tread lightly. I'm like, at the end of the day, I gotta relax. You can't say too much about. Well, I do. I don't have to necessarily because I do accounting. Like I'm not a teacher. I'm not a psychologist. So when you have clients and students, there's a lot more boundaries there that you could, you get fired. The only thing I can get fired off of if I say something about the company, like that's top notch, like top secret. You know what I mean? Other than that, I have more free reign than a lot of people in other professions. Like you pick the professions where you have clients, and there's psychologists like that too. Like the one that got fired, and other psychologists. Why are you coming online tweeting or going on TikTok talking about your clients? Like that's weird. Like these people trust you with their lives, their livelihood. You picked a career like that for a reason. You can't do both. You can't do both. Then you shouldn't have picked that career. Like you shouldn't have picked that. Like there's gonna be restraints there. So no, we didn't get him fired. We didn't get that psychologist fired. They got themselves fired.
Posting.
Like
they got fired off of their own post.
And they wouldn't have gotten fired if what they did wasn't deemed inappropriate. Like simple. So I hate that. Like I hate that like black people love to try to like use that. Oh, you got a black woman fired, a black man fired, like to try to call some type of like blackness. I mean, like no, that's why black people are, no offense, we're so stupid as a whole because we don't promote change.
Fuck
and
them.
progress.
Fuck both of them.
Yeah,
no real shit. Like fuck both of them. And not only that, we didn't even get into it.
Yeah, the weird stuff.
The weird stuff that came up with him. But realistically, I swear to God, like black people to our own demise, we never want to hold people accountable for their actions. I don't care if we have have similar skin. I'm gonna treat you the same way I treat anybody. We have a different cultural connection and we have a better understanding of each other innately without having to say anything necessarily. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna support you in everything that you do. I hate that whole support. No, nigga, no.
Like I support you just because you're black. Like
no,
what?
I'm not doing that. No, I'm gonna support you as a person.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the people that are gonna do you the most crazy in life are gonna be the people that look like you.
Yeah, literally.
So I'm not gonna support you just because we have similar skin tone. I'm gonna support your actions and who you are as a person. So I'm not in support of our people doing dumb shit. And if anything, I'm going to advance our people more than you because I'm going to hold you accountable for your actions.
Like people always talk about hold your friends accountable, hold your partner accountable. But when it comes to us as a race, no one ever wants to do that. Like how are we going to grow as a race?
That's why we are.
As a race.
That's why people are the way they are.
Yeah,
that's why they look at us and what we're doing is amazing.
Yeah.
Granted, yes. But still, people would look at us as being like, rich or being such a huge success story. We should not be a success story.
Yeah,
We should
it's
just be
just
the norm.
Like
And
all
people
we did was follow a basic plan, a basic blueprint in life.
making six figures
Literally,
in our
what
20s.
we didn't extenuate ourselves. Like we worked hard, but it's not like we sat here slaving and did some crazy stuff to get here. We literally followed a simple blueprint of life.
Right. This should be normal.
Like yeah, it should be normal.
But it's not.
Yeah, 'cause
And
everybody wants to be influencers, and everybody wants to be a Ari, and everybody wants to be NBA young boy, like. Because they don't have people holding them accountable. They don't have parents they don't have people talking about maybe we should develop a family home and have meaningful relationships so we can have a healthy home environment. Like you say these things, you're classist. Oh, you colorist. Oh, you racist. Like why? Because I want my people to be better as a whole. Like I can't.
anyway, get into this weird freak ass nigga.
No, he's weird. So what came out more while he was talking about the fact that he got fired, apparently his students were texting him, like upset that he got fired. So they were like, wait, why are your students texting you? Like, why do you have your student's number? I never, like, okay, I know it's a different world, but I've never had my teacher's number. Like, I don't know if that's just a thing nowadays. Like, do people have, like, is that supposed to be the norm now? Like, having your student's phone number? Like, in my opinion, you should have no personal contact with your student. I get they might have questions, and I get maybe some teachers are trying to, like, adapt to, like, is that a new diss?
No.
Oh, I got scared. I was like, wait.
No.
I get maybe teachers are trying to adapt to this new environment, the new social media, the new like the norm, right? So maybe like before we might have had our teachers' emails or something like that to ask them questions. I get that, right? The number thing is a little, I don't know, it is a little weird because it's so personal. And like I've heard this one teacher that got like found out she was like doing something with the students. They was like texting her, calling her like 9, 10 o'clock at night, like, and she was like, it was so weird. Like she was telling her students, or her students were calling her mommy. Like imagine you find out your son is texting her teacher. Oh my god, oh, it's just so weird. What is wrong with these people? That's so weird, right? It was like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and like she was like calling her, like the teacher was calling her, like, oh my son, my baby, like some weird, like oh, it's just weird. This is a recent story that just came out. Oh my god, it was so
I don't know
weird.
where we at.
So I'm just saying, like, yeah. So he had the students' numbers, like. For me, I don't know, because like I said, we're in a different world, so I can't really say if that's abnormal to have your teacher's numbers in 2024, because like I definitely didn't, and we had cell phones back then, but we were in a different world. We weren't as technology advanced as we are now. It wasn't the norm for everybody to have phones, smartphones. I don't know, but it does add kind of more to the dynamic. Like, okay, like you have these students' numbers, they're texting you, they're comfortable texting you, like they're texting you about personal stuff too, like about you being fired. Like, why are they doing that? I don't know.
Yeah, no. I think it's weird.
Yeah.
I do get it to some extent, but nah. Like for me, I don't know how young these kids were, but they're kids. They're like they're definitely not high school. They look really young. Like I'm not texting nobody in 6th grade, 7th grade as a grown ass man. I'm not even texting high school. I think
it's weird. Like you not feel weird. Like that's the thing. Like I actually, and I might like going back to what I said. Like I know, like I was saying. I don't know what the world is like nowadays, but no, I actually take that back. I feel like I don't care what the world is like nowadays. Like
talk that shit.
You have parents. Let the parents have the teacher's number. If they have questions, you say, hey, like you put the question to the parent. Let your mom or dad text the teacher. You don't need to text them like directly. That's weird.
Yeah, because imagine because parents do this. I don't know if I actually not even that I don't know. I'm more likely than not will not take this approach. But imagine you just happen to be checking your kid's phone.
Yeah, and you see your like teacher. And it's like 8 or 9, 10. Yeah, that's weird. Like even if it's a homework question, like why are you texting my daughter, my son at 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
Like that's not okay.
Why do you even have their number? Like there's so many other questions before we even get to the text.
Literally any type of communication that you need to have with your teacher, if you want it to be like a last minute question, should be through the parent. Let your mom or dad text or call the teacher. You don't need to directly text my daughter or son. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But get into the weird shit.
Yeah. So another level.
Go ahead. Talk about it.
Another layer, because this guy obviously loves TikTok. He wants to be an influencer, right? So he's been online, and actually I've seen this video, crazy enough. But there was this girl. Her name was Sasha, on TikTok. And apparently, like, I did some digging. She doesn't really post much anymore because, like, she was kind of like, she doesn't really like the attention, which I always find that interesting because, like, you know what you're doing. Like, you're showing off your butt. You know you have a nice body. But then you kind of like, oh, people are sexualizing me. Like, but you're like, I don't know. It is kind of, I hate when girls try to do that or women try to do that. Like, it is kind of like annoying. Like, you know what you're doing. But she made a video, and this was like 2021, 2022, where like a lot of people were stitching it, where she was showing herself like in a school bathroom, like in the stall, and she was like showing like she had like yoga pants on, and like this girl, like she was over 18 now, I would assume, but at the time I think she was like 15, 16. And she has a nice body, right? Like she has curves, I would say. I'm not gonna go into details, but and so she made a video showing her body and was like, I love emo boys or something like that. Like I love emo boys. So a lot of guys were stitching it, which was funny if you were of age, right, to do it. But people were stitching it, showing themselves with like the little emo filter on TikTok, like playing like the music, like trying to be funny, like
What kind of music? Yeah, that kind of music.
So his video was one of the ones I remember seeing too. Like you probably saw it too. Like it was a viral one.
I would have
and
never
I didn't
thought
know
that
it
was
was the
him.
same person. Apparently, this is the same teacher. Like it's crazy how stuff we connected so much online. How so many people go viral consistently on these apps that they end up being the same people that you saw before in a different viral video. But people are saying like, let's bring this back now. Like it's almost like the Drake situation. Like when one person has multiple things that shows a pattern, that's when we got to question it. So it's like, yeah, maybe the inbreeding wasn't anything crazy, but this guy also has the students' numbers, and he also was stitching 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds, being sexually subjective. Suggestive. I can't say the word. Yeah. Whether it was a joke or not, whether it was a trend or not, like you're a teacher and you were studying to be a teacher at the time. I don't know if you were one, but you definitely had an interest in being a teacher, and that's what you're doing. And it makes a deeper conversation where we talked about this. I don't know if on the podcast or like off camera before, where we said like there is always something kind of interesting where you wonder why some people want to be teachers. And it's like definitely everybody has their intentions. Like some people generally want to teach kids, but I do feel like there's a lot of people who were losers or weirdos, like we just said with like these men, right, in high school, and then they go back to relive it. They want to be they love the attention. Like some of these men, I know they love the attention from the students. Like, oh my god, Mr. Mama, like we all were in high school. And I remember like finding some teachers cute, right? Like that was a thing. I think everybody had that thing. But then there were weirdo teachers who now that I'm older realized leaning into that. Like I know plenty of teachers who were leaning into that. Like I've had friends or people who I was in class with, Mr. Post, Mr. I'm saying their names too. Mr. Who cares? They're not gonna figure out. Mr. What was this one guy? Troxel. I'm saying their name. I don't care because they were weirdos. And there was definitely teachers that were weird at that school, like at my school. Oh my god, I hate like they were sitting there.
This is all
gleaming.
alleged.
No, I've seen it with my eyes. They were sitting there smiling, cheesing, playing into it, like flirting back, like especially the gym teachers. It got weird. Like now that I think about it, and like I feel like a lot of those teachers, that's why they do it. They want to go back and relive those days. And now that they're older and maybe look better, like men go there to get that attention from those students. Like they want to be the cute teacher. I'm the attractive teacher, and the woman too. The woman, oh my god, the women are probably the bigger ones because you hear so many stories about the women with the.
I'm not putting nobody out there.
No, but for real, like we see it with the like I think someone actually even made a joke about it on TikTok, like, "Hey, the football guys, how was the game last night?" Like, oh my god,
I did see that
the women,
TikTok.
yeah,
that
right?
shit was nuts.
And that's how they be though. Like the women teachers wanted, like they weren't that cute girl in high school, so now they feel like, oh, I'm maybe that cute teacher now, and like now oh my god, hi guys, how was the game last night? How was practice? Like, I'm like, it's just so weird, and like that's definitely a deeper conversation about why people become teachers. But I think this guy, he's one of those people you got to look into. Like,
right?
It's something. Everything has a reason for me, and I feel like that's definitely a reason for some of these people. They want to be around that, and they want to get that ego boost of being around younger people who might look up to you or might think that you're the cute teacher. Like they want to be that person, and it's crazy.
And you're not saying this, and I'm not saying you're saying this, but I just want to put it out there. Like, of course, there's the people that really legitimately become teachers to empower students and to really teach and do some good in the community. So we're not saying that it's everybody, but we have seen quite a few instances where people do some real weird stuff. And now I feel like it's even more because the kids look more grown. Like I feel like it's just a different world. So in our world, like you were saying with teachers at your school, like of course we had teachers in our school.
Like you've seen it.
We've seen it.
And now that we're older, we could realize that like, wait, that was weird. Like, in the moment it was like, oh, the cute teachers, blah, blah, like funny, haha. But now that I'm like 27 years old, I'm like, yeah, that was weird. Yeah,
we've seen girls like throw themselves at the teachers, and who knows what happened after the fact.
Yeah, we don't know if stuff
or during
happened.
The fact. Even honestly, even in college.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to speak on. I'm not going to get into that, but yeah. It gets a little, people will do some stuff for some grades, but anyway.
And there's definitely that's like a whole nother conversation that we had. There's definitely people whose intention of being teachers are rooted in that, like for sure.
Yeah.
To be around, like, come on, who, like, if you're a weirdo, who wouldn't want to? That's easy. That's easy. That's too easy to be around young people all day, every
That's
day.
a lot of the Disney stuff
Yeah,
that comes out.
yeah.
That's exactly why. Like, there's a
That
lot
guy that
of
killed his stepdaughter worked at Disney.
there's a lot of
And there was, remember, we had a whole conversation about this too. There's a lot of like pedophiles that were linked to working at Disney. Like, there's a reason. Like, these people aren't, like, some of these people are not normal. That's why they want to be around kids.
and it's unfortunate because it does take away from the people that legitimately have, like we were saying, some teachers legitimately want to do better for the community and teach kids, and some people legitimately want to. They get that like there was a viral video of the actress that plays Tiana, I think, in Disney. If I'm not mistaken, if that was the correct princess, and then there was a child that I don't know if he had Down syndrome or autism or something, and he like ran up to her, like gave her a kiss, like she and the actress started like crying.
Yeah.
Like, so there's legitimately people that want to go out and have those
and those interactions,
like,
and
do
that
something.
impact.
Yeah, but within
there's
that,
probably more of them than there are the weirdos,
and
for sure.
for sure, and most teachers are, I'm sure, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But there are, at the same time,
There's always bad apples.
There's always bad apples, and we got to question stuff sometimes.
Yeah, and it's sad because it's like, but that's why, like, when stuff like this happens, we do have to talk about it. Like, under no circumstances should a student be unbraiding your teacher's hair. Under no circumstances, even if it's the most innocent act ever, your kids should not be going to school doing that. Like, that's so inappropriate.
Even a hug is questionable.
Yeah.
But
unless the kid really feels a connection to, like, maybe they don't have a great parent system at home and they're foster kids, something, right? Like, that's different. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't be happening. Like, you're there to teach these students. Like, you could be personable with them. You could be somebody easy to talk to. Fine, all that's fine, because the teachers do change people's lives. Like, you see all these celebrities that talk about their teachers that changed their lives. But there's ways of doing that without crossing boundaries. And there's and literally under no circumstances should somebody be touching you. Like, that's weird.
And it's kind of like the same thing with the Drake Millie Bobby Brown thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll go out on a limb and say that I don't think that Drake is a child predator.
No.
I think he does a lot of weird, questionable things, and maybe that might be some of those things are bubbling to the surface, and maybe he does legitimately do some really wild stuff behind the scenes. I don't know. I would like to think that he doesn't. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it's kind of a similar thing, right? Like, why are you texting her about boys?
Yeah, because, like, for me,
13-year-old.
Yeah, like, that's like, you don't feel like a creep. Like, I would just feel a weird feeling in my body. Like, okay, why am I talking?
How old was he? Was he in his 30s at this point?
That had to have been. He had to have been in his 30s. That was definitely.
That was not that long ago.
Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown thinks like what, 21 now.
Yeah, so
she was 14 at the time, so that was like six. That was like the Hunger Games.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things was like 2017 time, so that was like what, 8 years ago. So he was definitely like early 30s.
Yeah, it's like,
it's weird. Like, that person's half your age.
Even because that's the thing, and I think that's where some people's defense of him was coming from, was like, technically he could be doing those things, and while it might be off-putting to us, it's still not like he did anything.
Because he was a child actor at one point, so it could have been, I'm just trying to give her, just talk to her, like,
no.
Why are you talking to her about boys? Like, the conversation should be strictly mentorship. Like, if you're trying to, if you're saying I'm trying to be a mentor, I'm trying to talk to her about the industry and acting and all that stuff. Maybe, like, you're trying to give her good advice. Why does the conversation get to boy advice? Right. Like, that's just weird. Like, she has a dad. I'm sure she has brothers. I'm sure she has cousins, uncles. Like, that's not your job. Like, and you feel comfortable doing that? Like, for what? How did the conversation get there? Yeah,
in your 30s, you should not be texting a kid, literally a child. About
literally, it's weird.
Relationships.
Like, I feel like I wouldn't even be comfortable doing that to, like, someone I'm related to, like a niece or nephew. Like, can you imagine texting your niece or nephew, like, hey, how's the boys at school? Like, what? I would never do that to even my own family. Like, unless they, we had a face-to-face conversation, maybe they might ask, right, for advice. But just, I don't know. It's still, everybody has different relationships with their family, but
right. Because I remember I didn't want to bring it up now because I don't know if people are gonna look at me crazy for that, but I wouldn't want to talk to teenagers in my family at all. Like, don't text me, don't talk to me, don't even, and I know people might think that that's weird, but if we're all like having a family gathering, I don't want to be in a room with you either.
Yeah, because it's just
alone, because I know the perception of that, even, like, and I just don't want to have anything to do with anything. Like, I'll talk to you when we're surrounded by a bunch of people. Like, I'm not comfortable even being in a presence of somebody that young.
Just the dynamics
it's weird. The dynamics
and,
like, are nuts.
Like, the thing is, because we all know how it was to be a teenager. I think that's the easiest thing. When you tap into your teenage brain, like,
and I would be scared if I was a teenager. Like, being around an adult by myself, like it's weird.
Yeah, like whether it's
family or not.
Yeah, it's just not a comfortable dynamic unless we were like literally like immediate family.
Yeah.
But it's like
other than that, nah.
Yeah.
Got no interest.
So it's like for me, I just can't wrap my mind.
Interest either.
Literally. And I get everybody was raised differently. Everybody has different social cues. Everybody has different social norms, right? Like I can understand all that. I do, and I definitely know there's people who literally have pure innocent intention, but still at the end of the day, like I said, innocent intentions are not like those aren't your friends. Those are your students. Like unbraid your own hair. Like that's literally labor. Yeah. People get paid to like I literally pay people to take my hair down and redo my hair like at the hair salon. That's literally labor. Like that's having them do free child labor basically. Like unbraiding and taking out braids is not like a fun process. Like it's annoying, it's nasty, it gets greasy, it's dirty. Like that's ill. Like you had these kids touching your dirty ass hair. Like that's what's like even beyond the weirdo shit. It's just nasty and weird and inappropriate. Like
and we're gonna keep repeating these same themes, but it's just like everything about it was just
very weird. And anybody defending it is you guys are weird. Like I don't care that this man got fired. Like I really don't. Like you kind of reap what you sow.
Yeah. I
don't care that he got fired. Like you don't use my kids as content.
Yeah.
So.
Now go look for a new job. Go hit up LinkedIn and Indeed. And even then, you probably won't get another job because they're going to see exactly why you got fired.
Mm-hmm. Good luck. And the crazy part is the school year was almost over. All you had to do was get through like another month probably.
And you couldn't get through that last month without having kids touch you. Fucking creep.
Weirdo.
Anyway. Yeah. Fuck all them creepy ass, weird ass people. Bury them under the jail.
I feel like this whole podcast, we literally was like, it just happened to be all these topics, like the Ruby Rose thing and this guy, the braider, like unbraider. It just happened to be that like all the stuff happened at the same time, and then the whole Drake expose potentially like. I feel like it just opened up a huge conversation lately to how all these people are like with these younger kids, and it's just sad that they exist out here, and they're gonna exist. They've existed since the beginning of time, and they're gonna exist until the end of time, unfortunately. And it's a little scary. It's a little off-putting, but
if you euthanize them,
or
do something.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If we had some criminal system that like penalized them, because I know like what country is it?
Probably somewhere in the UAE.
I'm pretty sure though that's a state. I'm pretty sure Florida passed a law where you literally the death penalty for child sex crimes.
Oh yeah. I feel like
that needs to be passed everywhere. And then those definitely some country where they like chopped off like the meat like for men.
Yeah,
like creeps
for sure.
We need that system because then the creeps are always going to exist, but at least they might be more apprehensive to like actually act on their weirdo desires.
Yeah, people can say what they want about places like Dubai, and this is definitely a sensitive conversation. Mm-hmm. But for me personally, I feel like when it comes to certain crimes, like the world would be a better place without these people.
Yeah,
and I think that a lot of that like hardcore punishment that some of these other countries like put on, like Dubai, you get your hand chopped off if you're stealing. And I'm not going to say my opinions on that specifically, but when it comes to stuff like sex crimes, especially anything involving children, I feel like
it should be death.
Yeah, honestly.
Literally.
Because I feel like people think they can get away with this stuff clearly because they do it so much. Like the Hollywood execs and all this other stuff, they think that they can move through life with impunity, but really it should not be the case.
Because I don't think people realize literally the effects that they have on people. Like a lot of times the people that go through these things are fucked for life. Yeah. Like their future relationships, everything, like their whole lives are literally ruined. Like that stuff really affects you like immensely. Like I'm not a victim of it, but I can only imagine like how that would make you feel. And like how that would just make you like, and especially when it's your body, like a lot of victims of like assault and like, rape, like they even say like, it's just, you can't escape the body that's been.
Yeah. It's still going to always be attached.
So you just like, the turmoil. It's like, I heard it's really immense. So like these people just deserve, like I said, death, like in my opinion, because like you cause lifelong impact and then generational impacts. So a lot of times that gets passed down to next generation, just all this pain. These people like, take advantage and you just do so much damage to these people. It's like, it's sad and it's disgusting. Like, it's crazy.
Yep, death to them all.
Everybody needs to follow suit with Florida. Because they getting these people out of here with that.
Yeah, let's get everybody out of here. Like Cat Williams set us up 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not even
so
halfway through the year yet. We don't know what else is about to be exposed this year.
yeah, so we'll see. And this Drake situation might advance even further. So we'll see what happens with everything. But yeah, stop being fucking creeps and weirdos and go seek some real mental help and
What I'm hoping for though is like the fact that we
die
do
while you're
live
at
in
it.
a world like where it's like, yeah, we might not have the crimes yet for it, but we do have a lot more like exposing of it.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe that will make people like I would hope that deep down like maybe a lot of crime has been prevented because of people's fear of being caught because of social media. I'm
Yeah,
sure if there was some way to track it down, there's definitely been an impact of social media and people being exposed that definitely stopped a lot of potential crimes that would have happened. Like I'm sure there's a connection there. So I just hope that that also has helped and will continue to help. Like the more it's hard, I think it's getting harder to get away with crimes nowadays. Like there's too much technology, too much science. So
yeah. And one day when I feel like it and I feel like I'm up to it, we'll break down the porn industry as well from a male perspective of
we
somebody
gotta
that's
break
going
down
to
the
be very
industry.
objective. It's going to be kind of unfortunately a topic where I'm going to have to take over the whole entire like
Yeah. Nah, the
time
porn
for it.
porn definitely has had like a scary impact.
We're not going to get into it today, but
Nah, but even when I think about it, like all my
okay, I guess we're getting
no,
into
I'm
it.
saying all my like early exposure to like sex and stuff was literally like porn.
Yeah, it's
And
bad.
it's like it's actually really kind of crazy when you think about it.
One day, I promise I'll do it because I think it's important. Kind of like when we did the topic, I was going to save it for my own individual channel for like how men should approach women. Um, this one I would do on my own personal channel as well. Like this would be an idea I would do for it, but you can be there for a woman's
Yeah,
voice as
give it.
well.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like I could give a good perspective because like I feel like women viewership of sex, like of porn and stuff, I don't think as that's talked about because it feels like it's a male dominated industry, which I'm sure male men do dominate the industry, right? But I feel like it's not talked about enough how much women do consume it too, and like how much it definitely had an impact on women and like our views of sex and how women like you could tell like the way women are very extra with moaning and stuff. All that definitely comes from porn, in my opinion. Like the moaning, a lot of it is performative, in my opinion. Like it's very like extra. Not all of it, right? But I feel like a lot of like people feel like women feel this performative nature of it because of what they were exposed to. And yeah, there's definitely a woman impact that's not talked about a lot or enough. So I can be a part of it.
Yeah. So one day I promise I'll do that because I think it's important in my as I start to become an old head
Yeah.
to talk about some of the stuff and like really hopefully help some people before they start charting down the wrong path or making decisions that they could have easily been
Avoid
prevented
it.
if they just heard a voice. But
I'm grateful enough to say that I feel like porn hasn't had a negative impact on me, but I do feel like it definitely had maybe a part in the like urgency to lose my virginity and stuff. So because like you watch those things, you just want to experience it so badly, you know. So it's like you might make the decisions faster than you would have. Even though for me, I don't think it was considered fast. I'm actually my age was actually average, like 18. It's actually pretty average. So
yep. So
not to get too TMI about my life.
thank you guys for watching. This has been the A Couple of Things podcast where we talked about a couple of things, and as always, we will see y'all
Next week, yeah, hopefully we have some updates with the Drake stuff, but we'll see.
next week.